Right, guys, how you doing? Welcome to episode 2 of the Southend Dog Training Podcast. As discussed in the last one, we said we're going to have some real life guests on to talk about their experience firsthand. It's very easy to create a review, it's very easy to post something that someone else has said, but we figured it'd be better for you to hear it from the horse's mouth. Sorry, Maria. Just calling you a horse. There we go. We're off to a flying start.
Should we cut that
bit? we may or may not cut that bit
Go
out.
off of people.
These will always be unedited. I think it's more funny.
The thing is, when you've got people struggling, there's so literally fucking hundreds and thousands of dog trainers everywhere. So, and like I said, it's easy to generate reviews and things like that. And most of the ones you look on websites, it's just obviously text, which means anyone could technically have added that. So it's really nice to actually have somebody talk about their experiences, how they felt, what drove them to come here, their ups and downs and everything like that. And that's why we want to get proper guests, past, present and future, to talk about it. So we've got Maria on today. Maria's a client of mine, one of the most dedicated clients.
Crazy.
And crazy clients, crazy, but crazy good, like committed. Maria, do you just want to tell the people watching at home a little bit about yourself?
Oh yeah, hi, I'm Maria. I've got I've got 3 Huskies, and it was actually my youngest Husky that brought me to Southend Dog Training. I got her as a pup actually. She was about 8 weeks old, and it was just the usual crazy, independent nature of a Husky, and she was quite. Well, I think it was sort of more down to me. She was dog reactive, wasn't she, really? But I think I became a bit anxious with her.
You questioned everything.
I did.
You become your own worst enemy. Like, literally, every little thing that she did, every hiccup that Kiarla did, Maria was messaging me like, why is she doing this? Why is she doing that? Why is she doing this? I was like, Maria, slow down. Like, get out your head, because where you're questioning everything, you're not being confident at all. So what drove you to contact us originally? Because obviously people search for dog trainers, so why Southend Dog Training?
Well, basically, I'd heard sort of about you. Well, to be honest, I met you years ago when you was dog walking. That was years ago.
That Mendip Crescent?
You had Sammy, Mendip Crescent, because my mum used to live
still
there.
ticking. Sammy's still ticking.
Yeah,
10
and that's
now.
when I first met you. And then a friend of mine, Jane, she's a bit crazy as well, and she's got Huskies, and obviously that she'd come training to you. She had problems with her dog, and I think I just sort of joined your group, and it just kind of went from there really. And then when I got obviously Kiarla and I had a few issues, I decided to contact you, and then sort of go from there really. And obviously I just sort of liked your sort of reviews, what you was doing, and I thought, right, let's give it a try, because the problems I was having with her, it's not that I wasn't used to the breed of Huskies, because I was, but I just thought I just wanted to do things differently this time.
Yeah, and differently you have. But you was actually I remember talking to you a little while ago. You was actually warned against us, wasn't you?
I was actually. What actually happened, I decided to get a quote to have some blinds fitted in my house. And the bloke I know, it's a bit crazy. And when this sort of bloke came in, he saw that I had a puppy, and he started sort of giving me advice on her, and he told me that he was a dog trainer. And I actually had already said, oh no, I'm going to go to Southend Dog Training. And he actually advised me, no, don't go to that trainer. He's totally against Adam, completely. But obviously I completely ignored his advice. And on top of that, I didn't buy his blinds anyway.
Brilliant. So not only did he come in and not actually make a sale on blinds, he also wasn't successful in telling you
dog training.
But the thing is, this is crazy. I mean, I see it on Facebook a lot, on public groups. If somebody recommends me, straight under it goes, no, he uses shock collars, he's barbaric. And I'm thinking, you don't even fucking know me. Like, you don't. But it very rarely ever works. I mean, this guy, clearly, obviously, he's a part-time dog trainer and blind fitter. Turns out he's not very good at either. But But the reality is, you can't take advice from a part-time dog trainer, because they're a part-time dog trainer for a reason. If you're good at dog training, this is your full-time career. You don't have time for anything else. So I just find it hilarious. Yeah. I do.
Yeah, so it was quite comical, really. And as I say, obviously you came out for a home visit to see us.
Mm-hmm.
We then started your training classes, and in actual fact, I started the same time as Evan
Yeah.
with Teddy,
Yeah.
and it's crazy times, wasn't it?
I
Really.
still remember.
Yeah.
It was obviously my first training class as well.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting Kiarla,
Yeah.
and it's just this crazy husky howling, whining, jumping all over the place.
She was incredibly vocal. I mean, huskies are a vocal breed.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but she was incredibly vocal.
Oh, she was.
I mean, if she saw a dog, she would scream. If she
Oh.
sat still, she would scream. And if you tried to get her to do anything, it was just one big giant bloody protest. She'd jump up, bite the lead.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. She'd mouth me like while we was waiting, you know, in it with the training. Like we'd wait there, and she'd be trying to jump at me. She'd mouth me, and I just thought, oh my God, what have I actually done? Like, you know, I mean, as I say. The reason I kind of got her, I did lose one of my other huskies, and to be honest, she was an impulse buy. I mean, she was. She was completely the opposite of what I wanted. If I wanted to get another dog, I wanted a puppy. I've already got a rescue. I didn't want another rescue, but I wanted a KC registered puppy. She was complete opposite to what I wanted. I got her from a bloke that was going back to Romania. He basically had to get rid of what the story was he told me, whether this was true I don't know or not, he was out in Romania, someone was looking after his dog. When it came back, after a time we realised she was pregnant. So he had to leave the country, he had to then get rid of the pups, and we ended up somehow having one of the pups. It was just a bit crazy really. It was something that I didn't sort of think that I would go for. We literally drove up to, I think it was Hereford, and literally picked her up, brought her back on my lap, and drove all the way back.
Right. So let's go to obviously the first session before you started the classes. Big problem, lead walking and reactivity to dogs. So,
I tell you, it's horrendous.
If my memory serves me correctly, I believe we opted for a slip lead to begin with, didn't we?
Yeah.
But that was like freaking trying to stick your hand in a flame without getting burnt. It was going nowhere. I mean, ironically, Kiarla was very vocal on the slip lead, and she was just willing to choke herself out. And I love slip leads. They're pretty much my go-to tool, unless it's not the best tool for the dog. This is where a lot of people go wrong in dog training, and this is where a lot of positive-only trainers fail, because they're like, let's slap a harness on every dog. So I like a slip lead. The reason I like slip leads is because, one, over the head, off you go. Two, you can buy them in pretty much any pet shop known to man. But sometimes it's not the right tool for the dog. I mean, Kiarla just wanted to freaking pull.
She did.
So we opted for a prong collar, which is public enemy number one. So I mean, as soon as you mention prong collar, people lose their shit. I mean, actually, you first-hand experience with this, Evan. Because we also opted for a slip lead with Teddy, but again, Teddy.
Well, Teddy nearly did choke himself out on it.
Really?
That was a
pretty
really.
Much, didn't he lunge and almost burst a vessel in his eye?
He did burst vessels in his eye. That was one of the most horrendous. That was the thing that made me go to the prong in the end, because, like most people, actually, their first thoughts on it is that a Victorian torture device or something? It doesn't look like a nice tool. I think most people agree with that.
I say it looks like a bear trap.
Yeah, it doesn't look nice, and I, like most people, I was not against it, but I wasn't towards it either. And it was Teddy just got on the slip lead and pulled, and it was dark at night, walking through the park, and basically he must have seen a squirrel or something. And I obviously me trying to hold him back as you would.
Imagine, he's a big dog.
Yeah, he's bigger. He's probably about 50 kilo now. He's about 8 stone.
I think he's bigger than Daisy. My Rottweiler's 48 kilos, so he's got to be 50, 52 kilos. I reckon.
But I got him home, and I've got pictures of it. It was honestly, it's really traumatic for me. But his eyes were completely bloodshot, both of them, for about 3 weeks.
Oh my God, that's
really,
terrible.
Yeah, it was awful, and that was my turning point when I went, I can't have him pulling, and obviously my wife was pregnant, so we're trying. We was given a harness, but Jesus, that was just laughable. Pulling on that was a pull.
So that was Evan's experience first hand of what he thought about a prong. What did you think when we first recommended a prong collar?
Right. Well, in all honesty, I think.
Or was you just at your wit's end?
In all honesty, prong collars beforehand, something I've never used, and once again, obviously a picture circulates the internet. oh my God, it's on Facebook, it's on the internet, it's true. And something I probably thought, oh yeah, that's really cruel. I think you shouldn't have them. They're really bad. Wouldn't use them. But then obviously my views changed. You brought out the prong collar. I sort of saw it, put it on Kiarla, and I thought actually,
it was the first time that you both enjoyed the walk because Kiarla wasn't enjoying the walk. This is where people have this misconception of dogs. If a dog's pulling like a freaking freight train. Yeah, if it's whining on edge like a freaking just all over the place, that dog's stressed. That's not a dog that's enjoying the walk. That's a stressed dog, and also it's putting massive pressure on its joints because it's digging its claws into the floor. And it's putting massive pressure on its neck as well. And of course, a harness is out of the question at this stage because you're just going to get freaking taken down the road. You're just going to empower the dog.
And is it an easy walk harness I had her on? That's what I had her on originally. It was easy, and it was just horrendous. I mean, it was even at the stage where I'd walk her, and I actually had people come out the houses on quite a few occasions, and they sort of, what on earth is going on? The noise she made was horrendous, and I think people probably thought she was being abused.
It's the anxiety that's making her brain move forward, so she's just constantly in a rush to get places, and when she can't get there because she's physically being restrained, because the harness doesn't really teach anything. She's too far gone at this point, anxiety-wise, to actually be receptive to taking treats and things like this. So on a harness, it's just basically reinforcing the behaviour we don't actually want, we have to actually slow her down. Now, the slip lead wasn't the tool for her because it just caused her more discomfort. And like I said, every dog's different. This is why when selecting the right tool for your dog, you have to look at the individual in front of you, not the dog you trained yesterday or the dog you trained last week. You don't look at breed because, again, you can line up 10 Huskies in a row and you'll use 10 different tools on the Husky depending on the individual. So the slip lead, although a great tool, wasn't the best tool for Kiarla. The harness was only making her anxiety worse and giving you less control, which in turn makes you stressed. So we went with a prong collar. Now, I think within 30 seconds of being on a prong collar.
Oh, yeah. It was like instant, wasn't it?
And this is where people go wrong. Like I said, we live in this world now where people just judge everything on appearance. Not just dog training tools, but in general. That's why everybody needs a status dog or a designer dog because it's to fit an image. If we move beyond dog training, that's why everybody's posting selfie after selfie next to Range Rovers or BMWs. They accidentally slip that in there because everybody's so bloody image conscious. We literally do. Before even speaking to someone, we're already judging them. That's the world we live in. So, of course, as soon as you use a certain tool, you've already got this notation in your head of what it is. But it was the right tool for Kiarla because what it does is it doesn't choke. Unlike that picture that people have you believe on Facebook, it doesn't actually puncture or penetrate the skin. That wasn't even a prong collar that did it.
No way.
That picture, the holes are actually in the wrong place for a start. They're all on the back of the dog's neck. And there's two different versions of this story. One is the dog was left in a spike collar that grew into the dog's neck. And the other one was it was because you do have these really gnarly collars, and I think they're from like freaking the 70s and 80s. They're like these thick leather collars and they actually have spikes inside them. They're brutal.
Horrible.
I mean, and so that was or people think it's that, and then there is the third option that people think it's Photoshop, but what we all know for certain, except for the people that use it to push an agenda, is it wasn't actually a prong collar at all that did it. It's impossible for a prong collar to do that.
I don't even know how it could. I mean, we done the live recently, whereas I was wearing the prong collar, and Adam, you was tugging on that hard. You know.
We did that live, and Adam, you was tugging on it hard.
But you was correcting me properly.
That's the Southend Dog Training X-rated.com.
But
what dog trainers get up to in their spare time.
You was properly correcting me, and I was pulling as well. I really pulled as hard as I physically could, and there was no way that could penetrate the skin of my neck. Not a chance.
All these tools that stop pulling, whether it's a no-pull harness, whether it's a gentle leader, halty, prong collar, slip lead, they all work and reduce pulling because they create a certain level of discomfort. So I'm not gonna sit here and go to prong collar. Dogs love it. It's great. It's a miracle tool. It's not. It works because it creates discomfort. But every dog's different. I mean, I've seen dogs you put a prong collar on them, they scream like the fucking there's no tomorrow. I've seen, for instance, it's normally Chihuahuas and Jack Russells. You give them a proper pop on a prong collar, like and what? I'll just keep going forward. Yeah, it's generally Huskies. I always say, ask people, what do you think is the number one most dramatic breed of dog? And for me, it's a Siberian Husky. I mean, they are drama queens through and through. But yeah, it was the first time that you both enjoyed the walk.
Yeah, it made a massive,
because
massive
as soon as Kiarla pulled, you gave a little snap on the lead, which creates this biting sensation, which is actually a language that dogs understand. It's how they communicate with each other. You must see it when they're playing, when your Huskies are playing.
Oh god, because they play really rough. Yeah.
And somebody posted on an Instagram post I did of I think it was of a prong collar, saying I don't know why everyone gets up in arms about them, because when my dogs play, they bite each other harder than, which is true. I mean, Huskies, ask any Husky owner, how do Huskies like to play? What's the style of play Huskies like?
Yeah, really rough, and they always go for the neck.
Oh, it's rough. They have a very specific play type. I'm going to jump on you, I'm going to bite you, I'm going to rag you. They're very vocal, very intense, and that's why it's difficult for a lot. That's why I think a lot of Husky owners meet up together, because there's not many dogs that can sort of take the play that Huskies like to do. Yeah. So you have lots of Husky meets and things like that. But yeah, the Huskies, they bite each other harder than actual...
Oh yeah, definitely. But I actually, as I say, my other Husky's on a prong collar now. Yeah. Straight away, put him on the prong collar. Yeah. Massive difference. It
is, because, like I said, it's about finding what works best for the dog. The prong collar actually helped her calm down. Yeah. So as soon as she started to pull, you'd flick on it. Yeah, it created this biting sensation which would slow her down. This in turn actually slowed her down mentally. She started to slow down, which then started to reduce her anxiety. Also, you was able to walk her, which helped reduce your anxiety. And this is where people go wrong. It's all well and good for a trainer to go, right, put something on your dog that causes no discomfort, put them on a harness, but what they're not doing is taking enough time to think about how the handler feels. For instance, going off subject a little bit, I remember a case I was working with this Cocker Spaniel that went to a local dog trainer that's a force-free dog trainer. And irony is, when she started her dog training business, she started slagging me off. Yeah? But what's more ironic than that is if I go back to my photos from 5 years ago, you can see her in my training classes.
Oh, right.
Really?
Yeah, you can see her in my training classes, right? But it was this Cocker Spaniel, very anxious, very dog reactive, and they were walking it on a head collar.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right? And the trainer come round, went, the head collar's making your dog worse, that's why your dog's reacting, you need to stick your dog on a harness. Now, of course, they did that, they're trying to offer treats, dog wouldn't take treats, they're like, it's fine, just stop every time the dog pulls and all this. But the dog was so worked up that every time it actually injured the lady's shoulder, because what they'd actually did was give the dog a tool that's designed for them to pull comfortably.
Well, you're saying that. I was out walking Teddy the other day, lady walking down the road with a German Shepherd, pulling like anything, and I said, oh right, do you walk him often? I was just trying to make general conversation, and then she said, oh no, I can't, he pulls my shoulder out the socket. The dog dislocates her shoulder, and so she can't walk it very often. And I said to her, well, have you considered training in that? And she was like, oh, I thought about it. And, after conversation, after about 5 minutes of conversation, I actually said, tell you what, I'll take Teddy off his lead completely. So he just walked beside me on the road. I actually put the prong collar on the dog for 5 minutes. I said, look, just try this. She went, oh, I'm not sure about that. I said, no, come on. I said, just trust me. Walked down the road and she went, oh my God. Yeah. She was absolutely speechless. She said, my dog has never walked with me before. And I said, well, it's the tool. The dog doesn't understand.
Before we go too far off, it brings me back to the Cocker Spaniel I was working with. The lady had basically stopped walking her dog. She couldn't walk the dog anymore because she listened to the trainer and put it on a harness. So, of course, you got this dog that's anxious. It's reactive around other dogs. You've got this dog with all this pent-up energy now not going out. So I said, as I always do, right, let's see what we're dealing with. So she put the harness on the dog, took the dog out. I was like, the dog's all over the place. I said, right, we're going to use a figure of 8 slip leads because they seem to be a tool that works quite well for spaniels. So a figure of 8 slip lead, if you don't know what it is basically just a slip lead, but you twist it into a figure of 8 and you stick a bit over the nose and you've got this clasp that comes down. So it's a bit like a head collar. Yeah, so you pull it and applies a little bit of pressure to the snout. Now, it's not my number one go-to tool at all because 9 out of 10 dogs fucking hate it. Yeah, but for spaniels seem to respond really well to it. So I put it on the dog. Within 30 seconds, I got Sammy out of the car. We're walking. Head collar's not the issue at all. Yeah, the issue is the lack of punishment. There was nothing. Like the dog's all out by itself. Owner's in pain, injuring herself, terrified to walk the dog. Yeah. Dog trainer's advice was just make sure the dog's comfortable, make sure the dog's comfortable. They're all
Ridiculous.
focusing on the physical, not the psychological part of it, or how the owner feels. For instance, when you walk Kiarla on a prong collar for the first time, it's the first time you and Kiarla were able to enjoy a walk together. You become one. Yeah. And you actually introduced me to a client, didn't you? Who sings my praises. She lives around the corner to actually Evan right now. Got a boxer.
Yeah, I do.
Right,
actually,
and this lady had been hospitalised twice
Jesus.
by
Really
her boxer.
dangerous.
Yeah, super friendly, and I think she had other trainers as well.
She definitely had.
And of course, without any hesitation, when I saw the dog, prong collar. Yeah, you've been hospitalised by this dog. Prong collar is like power steering for dogs. Yeah, I wasn't even going to beat around the bush, not going to try and introduce a slip lead or anything. I'm like, this is a matter of safety now. This isn't even a matter of what you think's best for the dog. This is a matter of safety. Yeah, definitely. If you've been hospitalised twice by this dog.
It's crazy.
And again,
during the road.
I actually saw her walk. I was a smile the other day. I think on Sunday. I think it was Sunday when I come around here to do the VIP live. I drove past her and I saw her walking the boxer. It's walking lovely, and the relationship is completely different. But this is what I mean. We live in this world where, because we're so sort of image conscious, we will actually use tools that go against us. Or there's idiot dog trainers out there recommending tools that are good for the dog or comfortable for the dog without caring about the owner. Okay, so we got Kiarla's walking under control within 30 seconds on a prong collar and everything, and then you started coming to classes.
Oh yeah, I did. Classes, crazy, yeah. I've done a few classes.
Yes, Maria actually holds the record for the person that has attended the most amount of classes in 1 week. Now, when we look at Evan, when Evan come to my classes, Evan, like pretty much everyone else in my class, they do 1 lesson a week.
Yeah, that's it.
Maria, how many did you do in 1 weekend?
I think I did 4.
Yeah, 4 is your record in 1 weekend.
And then we did a pack walk, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Maria is the epitome of commitment. Yeah. If you're struggling with your dog or you want to get more out of your dog, you need to be more like Maria. I think this has got to be a slogan for a t-shirt. Be more like Maria.
But don't be a Karen, be a Maria.
Don't be a Karen, be a Maria. Right? Because you was making steady progress in the classes, doing 1 a week, but that wasn't good enough for you. No. You wanted more, so you would ask. It started with you asking, "Is there another class after this? Can I attend?" And I'd be like, "You can, but the class is probably going to be a little bit too advanced for you." Like, I don't care about that. I mean, just having her around other dogs, just things, and it was true. Yeah, the class might have been too advanced for you, but having her constantly being exposed to other groups of dogs and things was helping with her reactivity and her socialising. Then it started, do you got any classes tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, you can come. And four classes in 1 weekend. And that was it. It was like she was doing really, really well. But then I think you hit a roadblock, didn't you? Yeah. And this is when, as we mentioned at the start, you become your own worst enemy.
Yes, I did.
So you follow her in, putting everything into practice, making sure she's 100% calm before you leave the house. Because her anxiety started creeping in again. So that's when you was messaging me constantly going, what am I doing wrong? Sending me videos. I'm thinking you're not actually doing anything wrong, other than you're just in your own, in your head. That like what you was doing, you're taking your time and everything. That was perfect, but because you're questioning everything and you're getting anxious because Kiarla's getting anxious, anxiety plus anxiety only equals more anxiety. Yeah. So your goal was to get Kiarla off lead.
Yeah, I wanted her off lead. I wanted to have an off lead husky, which apparently you know in the husky world, you know. It's not safe to have a husky off lead due to, well, they're born to run, aren't they, basically, and they've got an extremely high prey drive.
Yeah, but they haven't. I mean, prey drive isn't necessarily breed specific. It's down to the individual. I mean, I've met huskies that are bloody the most sedate huskies in the world. Like they can literally have squirrels running across them and they wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Yeah, they can live with cats. They can live with budgies and So yes. Huskies on average do have a high prey drive, but the problem with a lot of husky owners is they live and die by this breed book.
Definitely,
or because they close their mind to certain tools and methodologies, they will never get their dog where we want. So we actually went into e-collar training, Kiarla.
Yeah. We've done quite a lot of training beforehand before we even considered e-training, so we covered sort of everything that we could. And then I said, I want an e-collar trainer.
Yeah. And again, this is another one of those tools that public
Shock,
enemy number
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Literally
world.
shock horror. I actually had I'd done an e-collar video a little while ago, and I just noticed a comment. I was going through comments because we've got some troll comments coming up soon. And so I was looking for troll comments, and I noticed a comment from a couple of months ago that I didn't actually reply to, but it was on an e-collar video, and it went, "I'm shocked." And I'm thinking, right, is this an accidental pun? Yeah, or are you legitimately shocked about the e-collar post? But I was just thinking, that's fucking brilliant, that is. But yeah, so for those of you that don't know what e-collars are, they are what people would refer to as a shock collar. So as soon as you say that, of course nobody wants to use it. I'm not going to electrocute my dog. How would you like that and everything? I'm like, well, one, it's not a shock. Yeah, there's a massive difference between a 20 quid one from China and a £200 mini educator that we use. Some of them still do use this outdated static shock technology, but they're the ones you can pick up on Amazon for 20-30 quid. And any dog trainer that does proper e-collar training, low-level e-collar training, like what we do, like what Kiarla went through, no trainer in their right mind would use them. And nobody on this market is saying that they have their place. They don't. I would like to see an end to them. I'd like to see a regulation on e-collars where they're all built to the same humane standard, because the ones we use aren't an electric shock at all. They're actually a muscle stimulant. Yeah. And I've got video after video after video of people with them on their neck. Not just me, because I could just be putting it on going, yeah. Look, it's on 100. Look, I'm not even flinching, and it's not even turned on. So I actually got clients to put them on themselves. And I make every single client test it on themselves before I stick it on a dog. Yeah, literally, I had an e-collar session, I think it was, what day is it, Saturday? Friday. Yesterday, I had an e-collar session, right? This dog is extraordinarily human aggressive, so we're going to use an e-collar because the way we teach it is like it's an invisible lead, so the dog's always got a lead attached to it, and it's just the safest, most non-confrontational way to actually interrupt aggression. So she was terrified to try it on herself. I was like, try it on yourself. She's like, no. I'm like, well, then we're not going ahead any further until you try it on yourself, because it is that simple. I flat out refused to let somebody use an e-collar on their dog a few months ago because they wouldn't try it. They was like, can I have a go doing it? I was like, no. I was like, why? I'm like, because if you're not willing to try it on yourself, if you're not willing to actually feel it in yourself so you can understand about the timing, how long the button's held down for and everything, we're not putting it on your dog. It is that simple. Because anything that I'd put on a dog, I'd put on myself. Anything that I put on a client's dog, I'd put on my dog, or I'd try on myself. It's that simple. I wouldn't like to try a £20 e-collar on my neck.
I don't think I would.
No. But I also wouldn't put that on my client's dog. I also wouldn't put that on my own dog. So that's how we discern this tool. So the ones we use is actually like a TENS machine, and TENS machines are used worldwide to deal with muscle pain. There's one person in America that actually sticks an e-collar, a mini educator, around their knee when their knee plays up because it's a muscle stimulant. So the more you turn up, yes, it can become uncomfortable, just like a TENS machine. If you turn it up too high or a level you're not used to, it's going to be uncomfortable. But it's a muscle stimulant. It contracts the muscle. It's not actually a shock. That's why dogs can swim in it. Although, again, as soon as you say, right, this dog's on an e-collar, you do get the Karens that come straight on going, how would you like that? And I'm thinking, just look at the dog. He's running around, his tail's wagging, it's loving life. So we opted to e-collar train Kiarla. We used the mini educator with Kiarla.
I mean, it's not a cheap tool to buy.
No, it's not.
To use, so you're not going to spend that amount of money on a collar that you're going
to abuse your dog.
Well, let's be honest. If you're going to abuse your dog, you're either going to feed it so much that the poor fucker can't breathe.
Just keep giving it treats until
or you're just going to pick up a fucking stick and beat your dog with it. You're not going to spend 200 quid. It's actually £200 minimum because you have to buy the e-collar, but then you need the 3 sessions to learn how to use it.
And then I had to buy the winged
comfort pads. So you make proper connectivity. So you're actually looking more in the region like £400 or £500 by the time you've added up all the costs and trading of e-collar, because it's not something that we go, right, there you go, 1 session done. You have to take the time to teach the dog what it is, right? So anyone that's going to abuse their dogs, or people that do abuse their dogs, they don't spend nearly 500 quid to do that.
Definitely not.
The people that are spending nearly £500 to use these tools and to better their dog's life, that's exactly what they're doing. They're bettering their dog's life.
100%.
And you'll always find the people that are dead against this either have fat dogs, which is, I feel we need to do a podcast on this, because this is one of those overlooked things in dog training, Yeah, everybody focuses on the tools as being abusive. Oh, you use an e-collar, it's abusive. You use a prong collar, it's abusive. You was reading posts on Facebook before this about slip leads. Yeah.
Oh,
now
God,
apparently, if you use slip leads, it's abusive.
Because it's a noose. That was it. That was their only reason. They said it's designed to choke, and you're like, well, it's designed not to be pleasant.
Yeah, no, it's designed to add pressure and release. It's not designed to fucking pull your dog up, swing it around in the air like a fucking helicopter.
When they say noose, you kind of go, well, a noose is when you're hanging someone, isn't it? That's not what you do. It's, as you rightly say, bit of pressure, no pressure. Bit of pressure, no pressure. You're not constantly applying that pressure to choke
And if the dog is choking itself because it's not responding to your typical pressure and release, or you're having to use too much pressure to get your point across, that's not the right tool. You take that tool off, you go, right, this isn't working for you, let me find something else. This was about having an open mind and an open toolbox. Yeah, so... I lost my chain of thought now.
Yeah, sorry.
We started off with e-collars, didn't we?
Started off with e-collars, and then we mentioned about the slip leads.
Yeah. So what about then, like the dogmatics? I mean, surely putting that round a dog's nose, surely that must be uncomfortable, but they're acceptable.
Oh yes, I've got it. Which I'll come right back to that in a minute, Maria. Right,
right.
but I got it. We focused on tools, like I said, as being abusive. Yeah, certain tools, which will bring me into the gentle leader in a minute, right? Because it's all clever marketing. That's what it is, right? So it's about tools being abusive, but what we're neglecting the fact is we're having dogs being spayed and neutered as young as 6 months old, which is fucking them up, both physically and mentally. Yeah, we're having dogs that are basically overfed constantly. Every viral video you see is of someone either dressing up the dog, hugging the dog, putting their children in danger. There is a lot worse issues going on at hand. Backyard breeding, for instance. People pumping out designer dog after designer dog and charging like fucking $5,000 a piece for it. With these dogs that can't even fucking function, can't breathe, riddled with allergies. Yeah, but it's a designer dog. Yeah, so we've got far more pressing issues at hand than to be focusing on the tools. So if you look at where the drive for putting people off these tools comes from, it's places like the Kennel Club, RSPCA, Dogs Trust, right? Yeah. And force-free dog trainers.
I'd like to say they make a killing, but is that a bit of a pun when we're talking about them?
They do make a killing.
Yeah, in a literal sense.
So when you look at, we've got this pandemic going on in the dog training world. We've got a massive issue with obesity. We've got a massive issue with backyard breeding. We've got a massive issue with premature spay and neutering. The Kennel Club aren't talking about this because, one, the Kennel Club don't want to advertise spay and neutering, because if your dog's spayed or neutered, you can't show it, right, and things like this, right? But if you look at the training methods they promote, is force-free dog training. So the only ones that are pushing this, they're using keywords to elicit fear in people. Right. And if you dig deep enough, you find these are actually, for instance, the Kennel Club won't make a stricter breed standard on the English Bulldog because they're worried people won't register with them. So they're happy for the dog to be very unhealthy when all they need to do is increase the size of its snout a little bit and make that the breed standard so the dog can breathe better and function better. But they don't want to do that because they're worried it will reduce numbers. They endorse trainers like Victoria Stilwell, who kills dogs. Yeah, when her methods fail, instead of going, right, we've tried everything that I know, but there are people out here that use these tools and methodologies. But no, let's have the dog put to sleep instead.
Horrific.
The RSPCA, the Dogs Trust, never put a healthy dog down. But what do they class as a healthy dog? It seems to be any dog that doesn't conform to their standards. Now, we're probably going to get a lot of hate for this now, because we just attacked like 4 big corporations, right? But the reality is, when you look at all they're pushing, they're not pushing they're not pushing to promote education on responsible dog ownership. They're not pushing to promote healthy dogs. In fact, if you look at what the vet deems as a healthy dog, it's actually more on the overweight side of things. So they're the driving force behind this ideology. And it's clever plays on words. They will they'll say this tool's bad because it induces harsh electric shocks, which makes the dog respond out of fear. Now, what they just said there is a clever play on words. Yeah, one, it doesn't emit a harsh electric shock. One, it's a muscle stimulant. But it elicits pain and fear, right? This is what you would do if you was using the tool incorrectly, yeah? But that's how they market it. Like, there's only one way to use this tool. So either they don't know any better, or they're basically misleading you with the truth to promote an agenda, which they've spent billions on, absolutely billions on this ideology. They can't go back now, they're too invested. So, gentle leader, yeah? gentle leader is actually one that a lot of dog trainers will use. Oh, it's kind, no choking, control the dog by its head, gentle leader. Think of a prong collar, pinch collar, head collar, gentle leader. Now, I've got an open challenge to any dog trainer. Yeah, we'll line up 10 dogs that have never been walked on a head collar or a prong collar, and I will teach I will get through all 10 dogs on a prong collar, all responding nicely before you get through dog number 2 on a head collar. And the reason being is because if you actually stop for a second and stop listening to propaganda and actually listen to what's in front of you, the whole reason we're in this, which is the dogs, you would see that dogs actually find head collars a lot more aversive than prong collars. But one's marketed as a gentle leader, pushed by many, and the other's marketed as a pinch collar, spike collar. Yeah. So we don't listen to the dog anymore. We listen to what Deirdre down the road says or what Karen's saying. Yeah, people that have never had to use these tools or things like that. So yeah. So e-collar trained Kiarla.
Yeah.
How's Kiarla's life?
Oh, she's loving life. Husky, off lead, loving life.
Yeah. For me, it's actually a crime to have a dog that can't go off lead. Yeah. I mean, because dogs, they need to do structured lead walking. It's a lost art, but dogs need to be able to run. Yeah. Particularly Huskies, but so many of them never really get to do that, or you have to take them to the same boring enclosed space all the time. Yeah, they never get to go like Kiarla. She gets to go in the freaking shrubs, in the long grass,
in the woods. She goes everywhere.
I mean, you was on a pack walk last week, and Kiarla's off in the woods, running around to her heart's content. But one push of the button, Kiarla she turns on a dime and comes back to you. And I've been uploading videos of Kiarla on my TikTok at Southend Dog Training 1.
Oh,
right? Get on TikTok at Southend Dog Training 1. Yeah, and people are like, how do I achieve this? How do I achieve this?
Right.
One, with a lot of hard work.
It's not easy. It is hard work.
But 2, using the right tools.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. We don't use e-collars with every single dog, and not every single dog on the planet will ever require an e-collar. But used correctly, an e-collar can only enhance the dog's life. It gives them more freedom. You sent me a video the other day, and I was speechless at the end of it, because this is what we always come up against, right? This is what we always come up against, right, when it comes to e-collars. Okay, I understand when the e-collar's on, the dog listens. But what happens when the e-collar comes off? I'm thinking, all right, what happens when you stop using treats? Yeah, I mean, it's a true story, right? The trainers that go, the dog will only respond when it's got the e-collar on. We can retort that. Well, the dog will only respond when you've got a training treat in your hand. And they go, no, because you work away from training treats. Okay, dumb shit. What do you think we do with the e-collar?
I done a video the other day on it as well. Exactly the same thing. I done one without treats, the response difference, without the e-collar, the response difference, and then whilst using both, because I use the e-collar along with treats. You know, so because it's a positive experience. So that's what you want them to have.
But yeah, so the video that you sent me was of Kiarla. I don't know where you was. There was lots of people around. You was by a lake, looked like a canal type thing. Paper mill lock. Yeah, right. And you're like, it's just my Husky off lead, enjoying itself. There's dogs around, there's people around, and you can see that Kiarla's just having a whale of a time. Right, and then all of a sudden, in front of the camera comes your e-collar. Because your contact point broke, didn't it?
It did.
So with a Husky, and this is what I mean. Proper e-collar training, it's about making sure it's fitted correctly, making sure you're using the correct contact points, finding the right levels that work for your dog, that doesn't traumatise your dog, and using the right e-collar. And you got the long wing-tip comfort pads, which break through that thick fur of a Husky. But it had snapped somehow.
It had,
But because of all the training you had done, the relationship building, the engagement and everything, you was able to still have Kiarla off lead without the use of a e-collar. And that's what training tools are. Training tools, whether it's food, whether it's freaking a slip lead, whether it's a flat buckle collar, whether it's a harness, whether it's an e-collar, whatever. The whole idea is they're there to aid in your training, to help with the training, but they're not the training itself.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Anyone that just uses food, you should be able to get your dog to respond without food. Anyone that uses an e-collar should be able to come away from an e-collar. Anybody that uses a prong collar should be able to come away from it. My dogs, and I uploaded a video of Sammy the other day, we called it naked dogs. Well, don't need anything. They don't need treats, they don't need collars, they don't need leads, they don't need nothing. When I got Sammy at 16 months, did I need some training tools to help? Absolutely. Yeah? because that's what they're there for.
That's why they call it training.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a whole freaking billion-dollar industry dedicated to it. But what happens is closed minds fail dogs. So the people that go, I would never use that because they electrocute dogs, they're so mean. I'm thinking, you just don't understand it. Well, the kennel club say this. Well, of course they do, because they're pushing an ideology on you. Yeah. There was actually a study done, and I will dig out this study to put it up. There was a study done, I believe it was in Holland, where they tested 3 different training methods on dogs. So they used a popular go-to method of food withholdal. So if the dog doesn't do what you ask it to do, you withhold the food until the dog does it right. I think the other one was with some sort of training collar, and the other one was with an e-collar. And they tested the dog's stress levels before, during and after to basically scientifically done. And do you know the one that actually caused the most amount of stress to the dog?
Withholding food?
Withholding food, it was actually the withholdal of food that caused more stress than an e-collar. The e-collar actually caused less stress on a dog than the withholdal of food. Now, that was a proper study done. You also see a lot of studies that go that e-collars on dogs make them worse, but they don't actually tell you how the e-collar was introduced, what e-collar they use, or under what conditions they were used. Because any training tool, you can either create a lot of stress with it or none. For instance, if I picked up a lead and started whacking a dog with it, I'm going to create stress with it. But if I attached the lead to a collar and walked off with a dog and gave it a treat, the stress is going to be fucking down here. So you can easily do a study on an e-collar and go, stuck it on the dogs responded really negatively to it. I think that one, though, I think it was 1 in 5 dogs. Or 1 in 4 dogs responding negative to it.
But it's how long this test was done over, because as we know, it takes weeks to condition a dog to an e-collar. It's not pop it on, 1 session done. As you rightly
it's not
say,
a quick fix, is it?
No. You get that lowest working level, where the dog just maybe gets a little twinge in the ear or something like that, so you know that they can feel it. And then you condition the dog to that. They're not upset. They're nothing like that. And then they very quickly understand that.
I think somebody in America actually posted a study as well on e-collars that said they can create the same feel-good response as a clicker. So, for instance, a clicker is a sound. So I think everyone listening will know what a clicker is. It's just that thing that you click and it makes a clicking noise. But it's used to basically teach the dog food's coming. So you basically.
It's the same as you drop your food in the bowl. The bowl makes a noise. The dog comes.
It's sound association. So you click treat, and eventually the sound of that clicker creates a feel good response in the dog. Lets them know that food's coming. But you can do the same thing with the e-collar. You can create the exact same response with an e-collar because the levels you're using are so low, 95% of the time. That very sensation that doesn't cause a dog pain or discomfort, sensation, dog pays attention, food reward, sensation, pay attention, food reward. So eventually the sound of that sensation elicits feel-good response. That's why when you see dogs in my videos, when I'm using e-collars, they turn on a dime and come running back because they know, boom, food's coming. And when people go, well, why? I understand that. Why wouldn't you just use a clicker? I'm like, because a clicker is actually a sound, whereas an e-collar's actually a feeling. So you can actually increase the intensity of that feeling, but the dog's in complete control of it. You're not just putting it on until the dog fucking slapping on the dog and hoping for the best.
Of course not.
But Kiarla's life, I would argue the toss with anyone that's against them, that has to keep their dog on a lead. Whose dog really has the better life, Kiarla? Or your dog that can't go to certain places, can't be off the lead because it's going to upset someone or something or things like that. So Kiarla obviously is having
she's loving life, and I mean I can take her to the woods where you've got squirrels, plenty of squirrels, and we've met horses. We've literally
we done the pack walk the other day. There was maybe 20 of us. I think you actually uploaded a video of it to TikTok. And there's Kiarla just casually just walking along. Obviously we had Ted off lead as well. Loads of dogs all off lead and that. And probably, 9 out of 10 of them, were they all, I can't remember, were they all e-collar trained? I mean, but they weren't. They were all very free dogs and weren't disturbing anyone. They come back as soon as you want them to, and, it's one of those things.
It's about having that control. My goal, sounding like a stuttering Pete now, but my goal is to give the owner what they want. You come to me, I'd love to get my Husky off lead. All right, then we'll go there. And we'll exhaust every single conventional way of doing it, and then if I go, all right, then maybe this will do it. It's just about broadening that dog's horizon. If you can use a tool, and it gives your dog a better life, is that tool really that bad? Like I said, what I want people to take from this podcast is, one, how awesome Southland dog training is, but two, just to be open-minded about tools more than anything else. Yeah. I mean, as soon as you mention certain tools, it does create that response. Oh, I'll never use that. I'll never use that. But what I say to somebody is that one tool that you shut your mind to could be that one tool one day. That could be the difference between you keeping your dog or having to rehome your dog, or your dog being put to sleep.
Well, Teddy was rehomed, wasn't he? For exactly that. Yeah. You know, he had to be rehomed, and they said he's probably a good dog and he probably just needs the training, but they couldn't do it. They just, you know, gave up is the best way to put it. You know, as such.
I get it every day. Somebody will say to me, "I've tried everything." I'm like, "Have you tried an e-collar?" No. Then you haven't tried everything. Yeah. Trying everything means you try everything. Yeah, it doesn't mean you try what fits your ideology. Yeah, it means you try everything. Like I said, closed minds is what kills dogs.
Definitely.
So,
I mean, I just wanted to highlight something from this, because we talked a lot about harnesses. We're not against harnesses.
No, not at all. No, if anything, you want to get Kiarla into mushing, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, because we've on the bike, our others have done it, so she's got they have a harness, we've got the proper equipment, so of course it's safe to use it for
I mean, there are actually 2 tools on the market I'm against. 2. There's only 2 tools on this market, right? I will add a generalisation on there because I'm against the cheap manufacturing of dog training tools. Doesn't matter whether it's a cheap e-collar, whether it's a cheap normal collar for a dog, whether it's a cheap lead. I'm against cheap crappy products, yeah? So when somebody goes, I'm against £20 e-collars, I am, but I'm not against e-collars, yeah? I'm against cheap versions of it. Cheap shit basically. But there are 2 tools that I would love to see taken off the market. One, cheap products, just get rid of them because they're just shit, they're dangerous. I mean, the amount of times people come to me with their pets at home long line and that's broke. I'm thinking, please don't come with that. I actually start to tell people now, where's the best place to get a long line from? I'm like, get yourself a lunge line that's designed for horses, or a biofane one, because that little thin one that they're coming with, I've seen that snap time and time again. Yeah, so you want to avoid cheap products, cheap ones that feel flimsy that are going to break. But the 2 tools that I am dead against are the citronella spray collar, because you shouldn't ever be spraying anything up the dog's nose. It's so fucking sensitive, it's just barbaric. You should never be. I mean, there's other tools that you could actually use to do it, and get better results. People will use that, but they won't use an e-collar, even though an e-collar is going to create a much better, much more responsive and much more reliable dog than a citronella spray collar. The other one is no-pull harnesses, because through a prolonged period with a no-pull harness, it's going to create structural damage to your dog, because when you pull it, it actually cuts off the circulation to the dog's shoulders. But we're not against harnesses. We're about finding the right tool for the right dog. I mean, I've worked with dogs that I've had no choice but to use a harness because they've had severe damage to their throat, and it doesn't matter what you put on them. Where they've been basically abuse cases that were like tied up or things like that, and they've got scar tissue all around their neck and things like that. We really deal with some of the worst dogs you can think of. So, but we also use harnesses. My dogs are conditioned to harnesses.
Because in the car. Really good.
Harnesses for the car. I use a harness. I don't do it anymore because my dogs are older now. But I went for a spell when I first started training dogs of working with nothing but Huskies and Malamutes. And they all like to do, Jane and all that. They all like to do the sport of mushing, which if you don't know what that is you attach your Husky or Malamute to a harness, attach it to a special rig, either a scooter or a freewheel rig, and the dog pulls you, and you give them commands to like go faster, left, right things. It's just amazing. It's what they're designed to do, and so I condition my dogs that when the harness comes on, you can pull like motherfucker freight trains. But when you feel a little bit of pressure and release, you go back into that, and you'll see it. The police will employ these same techniques. So, for instance, when a police has got like a spaniel doing search and rescue or detection work, it's often on a harness, dragging the person wherever it wants to go, because the policeman's taking the lead from the spaniel. So you want the spaniel attached to the harness because you want the spaniel to pull comfortably. You don't want the dog, when it's doing a job, to be uncomfortable, do you? But as soon as it's finished, many times it goes back onto some sort of training collar, walking to heel, back under command. And it's the same with the German Shepherds and things like that. So we're not against harnesses at all, but I find 9 out of 10 people, and I'm not saying you can't teach a dog to walk nicely on a harness, but for what 9 out of 10 people need, their confidence is a rock bottom, their timing isn't there, the harness is actually going against you, because the harness was designed for a dog to pull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got a dog that pulls, the last tool in the world you want to use is a harness that was actually designed for it to pull, and things like that. So yeah, that's what it is. So that's pretty much Kiarla's story. Like, she can go anywhere, which is amazing.
Probably the only off-lead husky in Essex, or
Well, it is. I mean, there aren't many off-lead huskies floating around.
No, as Maria said, she can't put it on the husky groups because they just go mad. On Facebook, we can call them trolls if you want, but they go, you can't ever have a off-lead husky. How can you do that?
No, you can't have a husky off-lead at all.
But when you see a lot of these huskies and the people take them on holiday, they're always staked to something.
Oh, yeah.
There's always something restraining them. They're constantly, you can give them a 30-foot lead, but that's as far as they're ever going to go. And sometimes long leads, right? They're great for training, but sometimes long leads aren't the best thing. For instance, in a woods, if you're holding it and the dog wants to go in
round and round a tree.
And there was a sad story about a dog that basically had a long line on, escaped from its owner, and actually drowned because it went in water and the long lead actually got wrapped round a rock and he ended up drowning.
I wasn't far off that with Teddy when I was still training Teddy. I haven't told this story before, but he was going through some farmer fields when we was on holiday. He had a long line on, and I thought, I'll just sort of let it go. Yeah. I didn't actually see there was a ditch beside us, but it was all grown with like reeds and you know. And he jumped into it, and I thought, that's not much good there. And he's also got a 30-foot line dragging behind him. And I thought, if that gets caught, I don't know how I'm going to get him out. And I did. I eventually had to pretty much drag him out. One, he wasn't responding to me. I shouldn't have really let go of the lead, but that's my own fault.
Push yourself, didn't you? Sort of
I thought, there's no one around. What's the worst that can happen? But
the worst could have. The worst could have happened. Yeah. But this is the thing. Like, I'm a huge advocate for long lines. I think if your dog's going to run over to another dog and you can't stop it, it needs to be on a long line. Yeah. Long lines are to help you bridge the gap between being on lead and off lead. So they are, but there is always a time when if you want to take your dog to certain places that a long lead is going to become a little bit problematic. For instance, I hate dogs swimming in long lines, particularly if you're going to let go of it because you don't know what it could, for instance, wrap around. So when I see these breeds, people live and die by the breed, you can't let this dog off the lead, I'm thinking it's only got... I'm not saying it's got a bad quality of life. I'm saying its quality of life could be better. A dog's life could always be better. You could always do that little bit extra with your dog. That could enhance their way of being.
I've seen so many people, on the Facebook forums because I am very open-minded still. I'm not a professional dog trainer like Adam, so I'll quite happily read through forums of how different methods and that. And so many people say, oh yeah, but that dog on an e-collar or that dog on a prong collar is basically like it's in jail. It has no freedom. And I think, actually, they're the most free dogs out there. They're the ones running around.
That is the 100% truth, yeah? The people that took the time to use these tools and use these tools correctly, there is no place they can't take their dog.
Correct, yeah.
And not only is there no place they can't take their dog can enjoy that place, off-lead, free. Yeah.
It's
Kiarla,
great to see, isn't it? It's just it makes you feel quite proud.
Something I forgot to mention was a part of Kiarla's anxiety and what led to her being dog reactive was actually the confinement to a lead.
Yeah.
Builds frustration. I can never go and see that dog. I can never do this. I can never do. Yeah. I put a video. It's actually a very popular video. I've got a lot of videos of Kiarla on TikTok. Get on TikTok, Maria, at Southend Dog Training 1. Right.
Yeah.
It was that in the class where she was educating Lenny.
Oh, the boxer.
Yeah. So Lenny is a typical boxer, super friendly, but he's all paws, straight on top of the dog. Yeah. And Kiarla snapped at him. Instantly, you went to panic. It's like, no, it's fine. Give me the lead. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And I was like, this is good for Kiarla. Like, she's gone from being dog reactive to now actually being able to tell a dog. Yeah. Not overreact. And she did. She put Lenny in its place. And you can see Lenny, she's still like Lenny. She's going over to Lenny. Lenny's coming back. But Lenny was more respectful. And we've done that a couple of times now in class where not only have we given Kiarla a better life by giving her that off-lead freedom, it's now her confidence has blossomed so much that she can actually, instead of reacting to dogs, is now confident enough to actually stand up for herself and tell a dog to back off, tell a dog to get out my space, but do it in a controlled manner, almost like what you see Sammy do. So this was a dog that pulled so much she would scream, where people would come out your house and think you're abusing her, to actually using an e-collar, which is a tool that people think use her, but she no longer screams. she has a better quality of life. So again, if
calm.
that's bad,
oh, she's so much calmer. And as you say, like obviously at the end of the class when we do sort of some socialisation, she hasn't even got a lead on.
no.
She can, you know.
She can roam freely in a class. She can roam freely on a pack walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a dog comes over to her, she can interact with a dog, but she's not going over.
No.
She's not running a fucking 1,000 miles away from you. If she starts to get too far, you've got that security of one button. She turns on a dime and comes back.
And she actually panics, to be honest. Now she gets to she'll go for a little while, and then all of a sudden, like she'll panic. I mean, maybe I hid a few times in the woods from her.
Hide and seek. I think a lot of people might have played hide and seek. I played hide and seek with my dogs once.
It's funny.
They get a bit distracted and hide in a bush.
It's panic shit. Panic, you know.
So, but that proves the relationship you two now have.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to be with you. That's a full bond right there.
The reality is, right, if people, that's not going to die, is it?
No.
Yeah, the reality is, right, there's nothing worse for me than seeing someone hold on to the lead and the dog not once check in with the owner, not once look back to see where the owner is, and just pulling it. And I'm thinking, if you drop that lead, would your dog continue to just piss off without you? That's not a relationship.
No, definitely not.
If you can't let your dog off the lead safely and trust that it's going to listen to you, there's work to be done within your relationship. Yeah. And if you have to use certain tools to help you get there, as you just said, she now sort of panics if she can't see you. She pays so much more attention to, because what was once a fractured relationship is now beautiful. And there's like I said, there's videos you can go and see Kiarla on TikTok. There's lots of videos of her on TikTok, and you can't. No one can turn around and say that's not a happy dog. It's off lead. It's free. She loves life. Your relationship's better, and you was warned against us by some freaking part-time dog trainer.
Oh, no, stay away.
Right.
Stay clear.
And we used an e-collar, public enemy number one. But when I met you and Kiarla, your relationship was fractured. You was at your wit's end. She was highly stressed and anxious and reacting to everything. Nobody was enjoying each other's company.
Not.
Now you're taking her on holiday with you.
Yeah, I take her everywhere. You know, I mean, tomorrow we are off to Malden Park for a family day. Huh?
What?
Oh, after training.
Oh!
Don't worry.
I was like, it's training classes tomorrow,
Don't
are you?
worry, I shall have the 2 training classes done beforehand.
Alright. I was like, you're going to let me know you're not coming to class.
No, we're meeting this now. I'm afraid I won't meet them till the afternoon, but I'm going to take her with me.
That's
family,
commitment.
kids, you know, and she'll be off her lead.
Yeah. I remember one moment in the park with her when we was doing the e-collar training, and you could see that everything clicks. I think it was this moment when we was over that field in Rochford, and these 2 joggers come running past, and Kiarla instantly got turned on by it and went darting over towards them. I went, Kiarla, come, and pushed the button, and she turned on a dime, whereas before she would have been chasing the joggers.
She would have gone.
Yeah, so like I said.
Yeah. And I've had quite a few compliments from her actually, about her, where I've been out, and I've actually had people say to me, "Oh, she's really well trained." I actually had someone say to me the other day, "My dog's not as obedient as your dog." So I said, "Well, Southend dog training." I mean, I'm always telling everybody Southend dog training, and I mean, as I say, even horse riders. I mean, she's off lead. I call her back to heel, and you know, they thank you very much. She's really well trained.
No, but how good of a feeling is that?
It makes me quite proud.
Yeah, like I said, when people criticise me or like troll me and things like that, and again, I've been looking for troll comments for today's podcast, and it's
struggled.
I come round. Evan's trying to tell me what the setup for the podcast is today, and he's like, "You're right, dude. You're very quiet." I'm looking for a fucking troll comment, mate. 15 minutes. I'm searching through. I'm searching through YouTube. I'm searching through TikTok. Right, Instagram. Do you know how bloody hard it is to find a troll comment?
You would think. I mean, we've got about 300,000 followers as it stands. You would think someone really just wants to wind you up, but no, they're not.
It's actually a lot harder than it looks. But when people troll me and they go, "Oh, you use e-collars and all this and everything," I'm like, "All right then." And again, another open challenge. I've got 20 trainer. Let's meet up. I'll take Sammy. We'll go anywhere you want. My only stipulation is there has to be livestock and there has to be squirrels. Yeah. And you can't use any treats. You can't use any training tools, no nothing, right? We'll go, your dog, your own personal dog and my own personal dog will go, right? Because I'm that confident that most of these trainers can't put their money where their mouth is. They can talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. Yeah, this is why not a single person has taken me up on this offer.
This is also why you see so many other trainers, let's call them, well, the Force 3 trainers and the, plus our trainers, they always just do long-winded posts, loads of text.
They tell you what you shouldn't use.
Well, yeah, and they're telling you how you should train your dog. But what they can't do is upload videos daily like us. We probably upload about 10 videos a day across social media. You know, we've got obviously on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and even Tumblr
6
now.
alone go on TikTok, 6 a
Yeah,
day.
so we're uploading videos daily, day after day after day, of dogs we've trained, of dogs that, you know, or people we've helped at least, you know, and it just shows how much it works basically. Whereas they can't do that. They just say, oh, this is how you should do it. This is how you should do it. But there's no evidence behind that. They just don't upload the videos.
No, but talking about it, let's kick off with our first troll comment, shall we? Because talking about evidence, right? This brings me nicely into this troll comment that I got. So this troll comment comes on TikTok from the takeaway man. Yeah. The problem is with trolls, they never have real names, right? They
So
never.
the takeaway man.
Yeah,
We like it.
it is.
That
You
probably
can't make
sums
this
him
shit
up.
Yeah.
Let's say it sums him up.
But the thing with trolls is they're either a company pushing an ideology, or they're somebody with like a fake name or a fake profile. They don't want to reveal themselves. They just wasn't loved enough as a kid, right? So the comment is on punish. I did a video about punishment and how punishment reduces the behaviour. Yeah, and so punishment enforces aggression. Yeah, this is what they said. It's scientifically proven that positive reinforcement works quicker and easier. Okay, so I'll repeat that from the takeaway man. Punishment enforces aggression. It's scientifically proven that positive reinforcement works quicker and easier. Right, this is what I mean. When people want to talk the science of dog training, yeah, punishment scientifically means to decrease. Yeah, so positive punishment means you're going to add something to decrease a behaviour. Negative punishment means you're going to remove something to decrease a behaviour. Punishment scientifically means to decrease behaviour. So that in itself, right there, shows the knowledge behind the person trying to disagree with my post.
I mean, if you want to generalise something, if you want to decrease a behaviour, you could punish them by putting them in the army, for instance, as some countries do, and that then puts people on the straight and narrow. So that right there shows we actually do it in humans, not just dogs. We actually use it across everything.
So to put this into layman's terms, what this person is saying is punishment enforces aggression, but scientifically, punishment would reduce aggression.
Correct.
Yeah. If you use positive punishment, or even punishment reduces. So if your problem is aggression and you use punishment, it reduces aggression. Yeah. Nobody's saying positive reinforcement doesn't work. Every single dog on the planet needs positive reinforcement. But positive reinforcement means you're going to add something to increase the likelihood of that behaviour repeating itself. Reinforcement is used to increase behaviours. Yeah. So if I want to increase a better behaviour than reactivity, yeah, I'm going to punish the reactivity. Then when the dog gives me a better choice, I'm going to use positive reinforcement to encourage that behaviour repeating itself. Yeah, that's what it does. And this is what I mean when they go science, science, science. You want to talk about science? We relied on the science for this COVID-19 shit. How fucking good did that do us? We're relying on the science, right? That's all freaking Boris Johnson said. We're relying on the science, right? We now, after the pandemic has struck, now it's mandatory to wear a face mask. You fucking idiot, right?
Let's not go into the COVID thing. Let's not digress.
Right? So science. It's all right. It's Donald Trump that wants TikTok taken down, not freaking Boris Johnson. We're fine, right? Yeah. So when these trainers talk about science, the latest science, you don't even know what you're fucking quoting.
No.
Yeah.
They don't.
And then the journal that comes followed by it, the RSPCA suggests this. Really? How many German shepherds did they kill with a fucking bullet to the brain? Not many people know about that. Yeah. Yeah. People are supporting businesses, not charities. Again, going off of that. But, yeah, when people talk about the science, they don't even know what they're saying. It's just something they're throwing out there.
I mean, this is slightly off subject, but it kind of just shows of people's emotions and things like that. Halal meat. Okay, there's a lot of people dead against that. They think it's absolutely really cruel to slit a cow's throat and let the blood drain out of it. What we actually do first in the UK is basically put a shot in his head. You know, that we use the electric magnet gun, and that's it. But then we still drain the blood out of it. We still slit its throat and do that. However, there's a study in Germany, I happily post this on any group, shows that there's more stress to the cow when they do put the shot in the brain first and then slit its throat. There's massive peaks in the brain when they do that. However, if they cut the throat without the without the cow seeing it, it's a bit like when you cut your hand. I can be sawing through a bit of wood, cut straight from my hand, or cut into my hand. I don't even notice it. The cow doesn't actually do it then, it just passes out. It's actually much better for the cow not to have that shot in the brain at first. And again, it's human emotion.
Just don't eat meat.
Yeah, or don't eat meat. But
don't eat meat.
It shows how human emotion gets in the way.
I think it's about 2 months now, dude, that I haven't eaten meat for. I'm
really
really impressed.
well.
I am. Really impressed with that. I haven't eaten meat for two months now.
I didn't know that.
Again, it shows human
It's
emotion.
because I'm not one of these people that has to tell the world constantly.
Yeah.
I was watching jokes last night on freaking that Drew Lynch. Have you ever seen Drew Lynch?
No.
Oh mate, he's the funniest fucker in the world, right? he basically, he's a stand-up comic. Check him out. He's got like 2.5 million viewers on YouTube, but he's so funny. The one he does this skit about flexi leads, and they're the worst tool in the world, which they're actually not. But if you've got a humour, you can watch it and you can understand. But he did a skit last night of vegans talking about how the problem with vegans is they put people off wanting to be vegan. Because they have to tell you all the time, oh, I'm vegan, yeah. Or they'll look down their nose at you when you eat. Like, a lot of these extremists, they put you off wanting to do these things and everything. So, the reason not many people know I'm vegetarian is because I don't want to be like one of those that go...
Sort of thing,
I don't, even though I have just literally broadcast it now to like freaking over 250,000 people, because we've got 300,000 followers worldwide. But it's for me, it's for health reasons, but it's not my business to shove it down someone else's throat. It's not my business to go, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah,
It's your choice.
It's my choice.
It's choice.
Ironically, my children still eat meat because again, they enjoy it and everything. But I'm doing it for me. Yeah. I'm not going to force my beliefs on other people. No. Right, troll comment number 2. This is from a Trishan. This one's over on YouTube. At Southend Dog Training, this is about e-collars, which actually sums in nicely to this today's thing. She went, at Southend Dog Training, because this tool goes into the category of tools, you should need any tools to train a dog. You should use rewards. Disappointing you have a whole YouTube channel with this mentality. Yeah, so this is referring to e-collars and everything like that. She's saying that you shouldn't use them because they're a tool and that you shouldn't need any tool to train a dog. You should use food. And reward based. It's disappointing that I've got this channel. Right, food is a tool. Yes, you use food in dog training, to help with your dog training. Yeah, I'm guessing this dog lives wild. Yeah, I'm guessing because again, if you clip a lead to a dog, you're using a training tool. You're actually using 2. You're using a lead and a collar. That's 2 training tools. You use food. That's 3 training tools. Yeah, so when people go, you shouldn't need tools. I mean, come on.
You use commands. That's a tool.
Oh, but a lot of people now are against commands. You shouldn't use the commands.
Or in case you use it in too much of a stern voice. And
no, it's because it basically incites that you're commanding the dog, that the dog is a slave, and I know.
God,
but this is the world we're entering.
Yeah, but if you own a dog and it lives in your house, you have enslaved that dog to your house. So you can't even own a dog now in that theory.
But if you actually took the time to actually go through some of these and what they're actually saying, they don't even know what they're saying. No. Yeah, you shouldn't need a training tool. Well, unless you take your dog out off lead, which is against the law, If you take your dog out without a collar on, which again is against the law because it needs to have ID tags on it, so either you're a lawbreaker or you're using training tools. Food is a training tool. Why do you use food in dog training? To aid with your training. Why do you use a lead in dog training? To aid with your training. So the very comment itself, illicit with emotion, makes no fucking sense. No. Yeah, and every time you dig into a troll comment, it makes no sense. It's just full of emotion, and you just you've just got to stop and think for a second, right? What has happened to this person? Yeah, what happened? What went wrong in your life that you feel the need to troll other people on social media? Yeah, to get your feelings out there, to get your point across. I mean, was you not loved enough by mummy and daddy?
Obviously, a sad and lonely life.
That you have to go out of your way. I need to tell you how I feel. You need to hear what I have to say. Like,
I mean, that is kind of what we're doing on a podcast, though, isn't it? I guess.
No, but we're airing it to the people that follow us.
Yeah, this is optional.
Yeah, right. Right. So the difference is, right, this podcast goes out on Southend dog training platforms. Yeah. So this is for the people following us. Yeah. The people interested in us. The people that want to learn. It's not for trolls. Yeah,
to be fair, we're not posting it on their Facebook wall or something like that. Okay, you must watch this.
We don't. I don't spam groups. Yeah, so I don't start posting my video in every single group known to man. Yeah, I don't start plugging my links onto people's comments. I don't go and find another dog trainer's post and go, right, have you seen our latest podcast? Although that's what trainers do on mine. Like, for some reason, I see a lot on TikTok. Somebody asks a comment on a video, and then very quickly see another, I'm a dog trainer, and a reply to it. I'm thinking, what gave you the fucking... What made, again, it goes back to Nikki last week, yeah? What thinks you have the right to come onto another dog trainer's post and literally give advice? That's it. But these trolls, they go onto another trainer's post or another post. They can't just scroll past. Yeah, they can't just go, all right, well, this doesn't interest me. I'll move on. They have to go, no, mummy didn't love me. These people need to know how strongly I feel about this.
So I think on that note, it's fuck off and mind your own business.
It is, but that's the mindset of a troll. Yeah. It is literally, mummy didn't love me, so now I need everyone to acknowledge my existence because in the real world, I don't matter. Yeah.
But it's really going back, I suppose, to with Kiarla. If I can go onto one of the Husky groups, I can put a picture of her, I can put her off lead, you know, of her being off lead. My dog is off lead. And it will be all them comments where dog shouldn't be off lead, your dog is not going to survive, blah blah blah, and nearly all the comments. You might get an occasional one, you know, but it's generally all against.
But again, this is why I'm not a fan of public groups in Facebook because I actually did a post on this the other day because I did a post on TikTok about why you should never hold your hand out to a nervous dog.
I see that.
And of course, I have 59 seconds on TikTok to do a video. Right, so I couldn't go why you shouldn't hold your hand out, but what you need to do instead, right? Because it took me 59 seconds to explain why you shouldn't hold your hand out, right? So there was a lot of people commenting going, yeah, that makes perfect sense. My dog hates it when you hold your hand out for them to sniff and things like that. But then there's a lot of people going, well, what should you do instead and things like that. So I did make a video for that. But the amount of people, when people were going, what should you do instead, were commenting, replying, giving them, and I'm thinking everyone's a fucking dog trainer these days. All you have to do is own a dog, and apparently you're now a dog trainer, right? And I think it summed up perfectly on the video because I said I've had teeth all my life. That doesn't make me a fucking dentist. Yeah, I've driven cars for the last freaking God knows how long. That doesn't make me a freaking mechanic. Yeah. It doesn't make me a race driver. I mean, sometimes I think I'm a race driver, but I'm pretty certain Colin McRae, who's retired, would still beat me in a race car, or Michael Schumacher could still drive better than me, even though they're retired. Yeah. But all you got to do is own a dog, and now you're qualified to give advice to people on social media without knowing the full story or anything like that.
Crazy, isn't it, really?
Like you said, you go in a Husky group. Everybody, right, your dog shouldn't be off the lead. You know. Just look, because you can't let your dog off the lead, Karen, that means nobody else can let their dog off the lead. Yeah. You know, when people say you shouldn't do this,
I thought so. He's not retired. He's dead. Colin McRae.
Is he?
Yeah, 2007. I thought he did die.
No way.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't want to call it out without using Google.
Was it a Steve Irwin disaster though, where you thought he'd get killed by a crocodile, but he got done by a stingray?
Yeah, it is a helicopter crash. Yeah.
So he didn't actually get done by crashing himself in a freaking...
No, it's a helicopter. I think he was flying the helicopter. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's digressing. Sorry.
Yeah, but it is when people comment again. If you look closer into the comments and the people disagreeing with you, what the truth is they're just angry and frustrated. They can't do it. I would never let my Husky off the lead. Well, that's you. Yeah, that's you.
Right,
yeah, you can never let a Husky off the lead. No, you can't train a dog well enough. You can't train your Husky well enough to be off the lead. Even when dog trainers say it. You can't train a dog well enough to be off the lead. That doesn't mean it can't be done. That's the difference. When people say you can't do this, you can't do this, I'm like, yeah, but I'm proving it every single day.
It's they're right. You can't do this.
Yeah. I would never do that. Good. I would because I can. Because yeah.
I mean, I see lots of other breeds off lead, and yet sometimes I think to myself, well, they shouldn't even be off lead.
Oh, obviously, tons of dogs that shouldn't be off lead.
I mean, in one sense, I'm glad that Husky owners, that if they won't open their mind to certain tools and methodologies, or they simply can't let their dog off the lead, I'm glad that they don't.
No.
Right. In one sense, because again, the last thing we need is freaking Huskies running around wildly out of control like we have with every other breed of dog.
What about our social walk the other day?
What?
We had a social walk
yes,
the other day.
Yes, I actually uploaded that on TikTok as well. Our social walk the other day.
Yeah.
Literally, we who was it? There was Chris with her German Shepherd.
Yeah.
There was you. I had little Roxy.
Yeah. I can't think of the other lady was. I've never met her before.
I think Sally. Was it Sally and Paddy, the Cocker Spaniel?
No, I've never.
Anyway, there was four of us. Three of the dogs were off lead. One was on the lead because it's not ready to be off lead.
Yeah.
We gone to this little spot on the beach that's not owned by the council, so you can go in there all year round. And as we're leaving, this lady's come on the beach with two dogs, right? So we say, oh, come on, let's let this lady enjoy the beach. Like, she obviously wants to let her dog. So we left, and as we was leaving, she's like, oh, my other dog might jump out at you.
But it's all right. It's got a muzzle on. It was a husky, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, well, it's all right if it does. I'm just going to grab hold of it and hold it until you come and return. But we got about... She's blowing this whistle. Nothing's happening. She's just blowing this whistle. Blow, 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 blow. Right? So we get about 5 minutes down the road. It's probably about 500 yards away from her. And we spot a husky in another field. Like, it looked like a camouflage dog because it was like husky. Yeah. And I just thought, right, we got Kiarla here. Kiarla spotted it, went straight into... My little Roxy spotted it, like, what's that over there? Because it's camouflaged in the bushes. They can't see it's a dog. They just see something moving quickly in the bushes. So straight away, Roxy and Kiarla are like, what the fuck is that? Right? I call Roxy, boom, straight down by my side. You call Kiarla, turns on a dime, comes back to you. We lead up the dogs.
Yeah.
Right? She's still blowing a whistle. I'm like, your dog's over here, love. Right? Again, the dogs... can hear the whistle just going round, and I'm thinking
it's just oblivious to it.
This is so irresponsible. Yeah, to let your dog off the lead, that's going to blow you off, that is going to run away, that is going to disappear out of sight. But yet people will still do that, and these are often the people that will go, I would never use one of these tools, they're abusive. And I just think, yeah, just like that. So I think we're going to start wrapping this up now. We are an hour and 16 minutes into it and everything. I'd like to say a big thank you to Maria for coming on, telling us her story.
Thank you to you for all your help.
Yes, it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
No, still training.
To be fair, Maria, I can see you being with me until freaking Kiarla's great and old.
Probably will be.
Yeah, we have that a lot. We have people. We call them lifers. Yeah. They come to class every week, even though they don't need to come, but they come because they enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, there's no harm in doing it. It's like a club, isn't it? Yeah. I mean. It's like any other club. It's something you do with your dog on a weekend for an hour. In your case, 4 hours over 2 days. Right. But yeah, you come, and a lot of people do stay till longer than they need to. Or you get like Evan that basically gets to a level he's happy with, and then decides that he wants his weekend back.
Yeah, I enjoy my life. No, but Teddy does what he does. I will start coming back to class every now and then.
I mean, it's bittersweet. I mean, obviously you never like to see clients go. But when they do go, it's because they've achieved what they wanted to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? So for you to be able to walk away and actually, because you've not long had a baby, spend more time with your family,
spend more time on the
things
website,
like that, spend more time on the website making me money. For you to be able to do that, it means we got you to where you wanted to be. Yeah.
Right.
Maria could actually leave tomorrow. She doesn't need to be here anymore. She's got that far with her dog. But she comes because she enjoys it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure one day, excuse me,
maybe.
Let me have a water. I'm sure one day Maria might stop coming. But I know the only reason, but I know if you did, the only reason it would be is because you've now achieved everything you wanted with Kiarla.
I mean, obviously we've still got the pack walks, haven't we?
We
can still meet up.
Still doing
next week.
Yeah.
Not one this weekend. I wanted a week Saturday to myself, but instead we're doing podcasts. But right, guys. As always, if this video was good to you, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube. If you're watching it on any other social media platform, again, just smash that like button. Share it. And yeah, cheers for everyone that tuned in. Next week, we're going to have another guest on. We're a bit unsure who. If you're interested in appearing on this, if we've worked with you or if you're in our VIP group, if you learned something from us and you want to come on here, just send us a message across any of our social media platforms, and we can set a date to get you to come on, and we can talk about your dog and your experiences with Southend dog training. Okay, and I'm going to leave you with a quick dog training tip. If you want to get your dog to focus more on you, if you're struggling with your dog's attention, if it's away with the fairies, if it's putting on a lead, never looks back at you, if it's recall shit, and you want to improve your relationship, improve your attention, start rewarding eye contact. Don't hold a treat to your face and ask the dog to watch me. Work on what we call the art of attention. It's our foundation for everything. Before you feed your dog, just wait for it to acknowledge you, then release it to have its food. Before you leave the house, don't just make your dog sit and wait there patiently. Wait for it to look at you. Then as a reward, you then go for a walk. If you're going to give your dog some freedom, make it sit, wait for eye contact, then reward it. The more your dog learns that paying attention to you, giving you direct eye contact, lead to them doing the fun things in life, the more attention they'll give you, the more importance you will have, the more relevance you will have to your dog. Once you have your dog's attention, then going forward, everything else is easier to teach. So, on that, we bid you a farewell. Thank you to Maria, thank you to Evan, and we will talk to you guys all very soon.